Hello, dear people, hello. Today I will tell you frightening stories immersed in the mystique of the unknown. It is not for people with weak nerves or small children, but the truth is sometimes cruel. Mutilated animals. Top secret experiments or dissections by extraterrestrial surgeons. On September 19, 1967, near the settlement of Alamosa in the U.S. state of Colorado, farmers found the mare lady dead, with the flesh from the neck upward completely removed. The brain, spinal cord, and heart had been extracted with incredible precision. But what disturbed John Altschuler, who was assigned to examine the corpse? The most was that the animal was completely drained of blood. No trace of blood was found on the body or in the surrounding area. After microscopic analyses of the animal remains, pathologists were astonished to find that the tissues had been cut with a laser scalpel. Yet in 1967, surgical laser technology did not yet exist. Another mystery was the complete lack of traces near the corpse. The wounds appeared to have been made with a laser surgical scalpel. On the bloodless bodies, incisions resembling those made by a laser scalpel were observed. One version suggests that the unexplained dissections are the work of beings from another planet, who collect animal fluids to sustain their vitality. The phenomenon with Lady is only one of the cases in the strange epidemic that struck the states of Colorado, Pennsylvania, Texas, Alabama, and Iowa. Incidents with similar characteristics have been recorded in Canada, Central and South America, Australia, and England. Primarily affected is cattle, although horses, goats, dogs, and cats have not been spared. Everywhere, there are no signs of struggle. Even in snowy terrain, no footprints of any kind have been found near the victims' bodies. It is as if the animals were lifted, operated on in the air, and then returned to the ground. Incidentally, eyewitnesses mentioned some kind of silent helicopters circling the areas in question. The eyes, ears, tongue, rectum, hearts, genitals, and lower jaw muscles have been removed. On the bloodless corpses, non-bleeding incisions of oval or circular shape are observed, performed with surgical precision. Researchers conclude that some of the cuts were made with a scalpel, while others appear to have been melted by an unknown heat source similar to a laser. Yet no carbonized traces typical of such instruments were found. The phenomenon of mutilated animal remains is shrouded in mystery. Dozens of reports and accounts describe the strange epidemic that struck the states of Colorado, Pennsylvania, Texas, Alabama, and Iowa. On the skin of animals found near the settlement of Dulce in New Mexico, there was an unexplained fluorescent coating visible only under ultraviolet light, and in some cases, a strange plaster-like substance was found in the chest cavity of the victims. From its very first appearances, the phenomenon confused scientists and investigators. Pathologists, livestock breeders, and sheriffs who encountered the mystery are convinced that the senseless mutilations are not the work of local predators such as wolves, coyotes, or pumas. A series of similar cases recorded after 1993 in Alabama were investigated by a team led by ufologist Linda Moulton Howe. Once again, it was established that the capillary vessels of the affected animals had been drained to the last drop of blood, which would be impossible if predators were responsible. Moreover, what predator could perforate the organs of a cow with such geometric precision? As investigations failed to logically connect the mystery to any natural cause, various bolder hypotheses were discussed. According to one of them, the animals were mutilated during ritual ceremonies by followers of satanic sects, though it remains unexplained which satanic cult uses laser equipment and silent helicopters. Reports of such helicopters increased. Black, without the identifying markings required by U.S. federal regulations, these aircraft appeared in low flight over the areas shortly before the discovery of mutilated animal corpses. A hypothesis emerged that the livestock were used by supra-governmental secret services to test chemical and biological weapons. After testimonies from several citizens who photographed the aircraft and later claimed they were threatened by men in black uniforms, the mystery deepened even further. For a fourth decade now, military and government representatives have repeatedly denied any connection to the strange incidents. U.S. Air Force services have questioned the existence of silent helicopters, and the mutilations have been explained as due to natural causes. Under public pressure, the FBI nonetheless launched a series of investigations into the phenomenon, and in the first, findings, compiled in a 297-page file published in 1980, the mutilations were classified as the work of predatory animals. The arguments that the absence of blood was related to the time after death, and that the cause of death was likely parasite infection, were unconvincing. Pathologists, livestock breeders, and sheriffs who encountered the mystery are convinced that the senseless mutilations are not the work of predators. The official versions sounded insulting to local investigators, who did not hesitate to accuse the authorities of covering up the truth. Dissatisfied with the government's explanations, farmers formed private security groups and began shooting at any helicopter flying over their lands. The government again made it clear that it did not wish to be publicly involved in the matter, but ufologist Timothy Good had already managed to obtain from New Mexico police officer Gabriel Valdez a secret FBI report from 1976. While examining the mutilated body of a buffalo, Valdez discovered triangular-shaped traces on the ground. Each was about 40 cm wide, giving the impression that some kind of aircraft had landed near the place where the animal was killed. At the bottom of the small depressions, a greasy yellowish substance was found. The grass around them was scorched, and radiation levels were unusually high. The first to suggest that perhaps we are dealing with beings from another planet was Lou Gerardo, chief investigator at the office of the regional prosecutor in Trinidad, Colorado. Cases of unexplained animal dissections coincide with increased UFO activity in the same regions. Nearly every mutilation case is accompanied by reports of flying saucers, which prompts ufologists to hypothesize extraterrestrial involvement. In the documentary film Living Creatures from Other Planets, Ufologist Linda Howe interviews members of a rural community who claim to have witnessed studies and abductions of animals by extraterrestrials. Ron and Paula Watson from Mount Vernon, Missouri, for example, testify that in July 1993, they observed something incredible from their porch. At the edge of the pasture stood a conical spacecraft with a mirrored surface. The Watsons took binoculars and saw that above a fallen cow stood two small beings in silvery clothing with large white heads. They extended their hands toward the animal, which rose several meters above the ground. The cow floated in the air, and then the extraterrestrials guided it toward a ramp in front of the spacecraft. Shortly afterward, the craft disappeared into the sky. Some ufologists linked the unexplained mutilations of animals and human abductions to the intervention of a type of extraterrestrials popularly known as the Greys, characterized by their small stature, claw-like hands, and large, widely spaced eyes. In her public statements, Linda Howe claims to possess confidential information, according to which the Greys have survival problems and are forced to collect animal fluids to produce the biochemical substances they need. According to us, it seems unlikely that beings from an advanced civilization would draw vitality from earthly livestock. But where, after all, is the truth?